After refusing to fund her lavish wedding, I discovered an amazing truth that changed everything. Sarah never imagined she'd find herself at odds with her spirited teenage daughter, Lily. The moment Lily revealed her plans for an extravagant wedding, Sarah felt a surge of panic grip her. Raised in the shadows of financial collapse, she understood the importance of prioritizing education over glitz. How could Lily not see that? The weight of disappointment descended upon her like a heavy quilt, each thread woven with memories of her own unfulfilled dreams. Dreams of pursuing a career as a healthcare educator, something she had set aside to provide a stable life for her child. "Mom, this wedding is going to be amazing. I want it to be perfect," Lily insisted, her voice dripping with youthful exuberance. But Sarah's heart raced with a mix of dread and determination. How could Lily dream so big when they could barely afford basics? "Lily, this isn't just about a wedding. It's your future we're talking about here," Sarah countered, Lily's face flushed with anger, her eyes narrowing. "You just don't want me to be happy. You're being unfair." The words cut deeper than Sarah could have anticipated, and a wave of shame washed over her. She couldn't help but feel that, in some way, she was failing her daughter. The two of them were caught in a struggle, a tug-of-war over values, dreams, and future expectations. As the silence grew thick, Sarah's mind spiraled into a vortex of doubt. Was she stifling Lily's ambition, or protecting her? What kind of mother prioritized dollars over dreams? Perhaps she was letting the ghosts of her parents' struggles dictate how she approached motherhood. She inhaled slowly, attempting to push down the swell of despair. Life had changed since those days of her childhood, but the scars still ached. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications, so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With each passing day, the rift widened. The evening rituals that once filled their household with warmth now felt cold and distant. It was during a particularly heavy night, adorned with the remnants of a family dinner, plates scattered and laughter a fading echo, that Sarah's instincts forced her into the attic. It felt as though the memories in the boxes were calling to her, begging to be unearthed. Rummaging through the cardboard confines, her fingers brushed against yellowed documents and a diary belonging to her late grandmother. As Sarah unearthed it, each delicate turn of the page revealed a hidden legacy of resilience and secrets. A forgotten family inheritance lay dormant, the echoes of past feuds and prejudices haunting the words. In that moment, a fiery determination began to ignite within her. Holding the key to a small but life-altering inheritance, Sarah envisioned not just funding a wedding, but carving out a path toward the future she had put on hold for too long. The joy of discovery twisted into anguish. Was this wealth a blessing or a curse? As she sat there, with the weight of history resting in her hands, the dilemma loomed larger. Should she share her findings with Lily, risking further anger and resentment, or keep it to herself, knowing it could be the catalyst to redefine not only their understanding of wealth, but their bond as well? Suddenly the stakes felt impossibly high, the pressure suffocating, as uncertainty clouded her thoughts. The choice clung to her like a dark shadow. One moment she would just have to confront head-on. The need to protect her daughter juxtaposed against an unquenchable desire to reclaim her ambition left her breathless. As Sarah prepared to face Lily, the silence in the room deepened, cold and daunting. Would this revelation forge a bridge between their hearts, or send them spiraling further apart? The tension crackled like electricity in the air as anticipation built, leading to a confrontation that could change everything. The attic felt like a sanctuary of forgotten dreams, but as Sarah sat with the diary cradled in her lap, The clutter surrounding her transformed into a dizzying maze of choices. She could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator from the kitchen, a reminder of the life they had constructed amid the remnants of their respective aspirations. The idea of sharing her newfound knowledge twisted and turned in her mind. Part of her craved to relay the truth, to show Lily that they were not bound by financial chains. The other frightened part wanted to shield her from the complexities that wealth could inject into their fractured relationship. What if Lily saw this money as an easy way out? A vehicle for indulgence that would blind her to the reality of hard work. Sarah had struggled too long to allow her daughter to misunderstand the power of perseverance. Yet, wasn't this inheritance also a chance to jumpstart the arduous journey toward fulfillment for both of them? The bubbling conflict of feelings weighed heavily on her chest. As she pondered, a thought struck her. Perhaps it was time for her to lean into the discomfort instead of retreating. She had spent too many years sacrificing her ambitions at the altar of practicality. The corner of her mouth lifted in a tentative smile as she imagined reclaiming her own path alongside Lily. Could this moment pave the way for not just a wedding, but a new beginning grounded in mutual respect and ambition? With that resolve, she descended from the attic, diary in hand. The air cooled as she approached Lily's bedroom door, hesitant yet emboldened. Each step forward felt like a reclaiming of both her identity and her daughter's potential. It was time to confront fear with honesty. "Lily," she called softly, pushing the door ajar. The faint glow from her daughter's bedside lamp illuminated the room, casting shadows over various magazines displaying the latest wedding trends. Lily looked up, her expression guarded. "Can we talk?" "What now?" Lily replied, folding her arms defensively. Sarah took a breath, feeling the corner of the diary press against her thigh. "I found something important." The quiet of the room felt charged, the soft ticking of the clock echoing between them. Lily's eyes narrowed, curiosity battling with resentment. "Is it about the wedding?" "It's about so much more than that." Sarah stepped forward, grounding herself in every ounce of resolve she could muster. "I found out that we have a family inheritance, a small amount that could help us both." "What do you mean?" The tension was palpable, as though the words had conjured a spell that could either heal or fracture. Sarah hesitated, gauging her daughter's reaction but knowing she had to push through. "I want to show you that the world isn't just about spending money on a wedding. It's about investing in our future, in our dreams. This inheritance isn't just for a day. It could be a foundation." The silence stretched, palpable and heavy, as Lily processed her mother's words. Finally, she exhaled slowly. "So you expect me to just give up my dream for your dreams?" There it was. The raw emotion, raw and unfiltered. "No!" Sarah exclaimed, her heart racing. "I want us to dream together. Let's explore what this money means for us both." The moment hung in the air thick with uncertainty. Sarah hoped her desire to share this journey would ignite a spark of understanding in Lily, a shared ambition that could reshape the course of their lives. As doubt gnawed at her, underlying hope flickered like a candle fighting the wind. Would they be able to bridge the gap between generational dreams and expectations? But the truth was far from clear, and Sarah sensed the impending storm of confrontation. This conversation had only just begun. The real work of rebuilding their bond lay ahead. Would they emerge stronger? Or would their differences dismantle their fragile connection forever? The realization struck her like a punch. It was time to redefine their relationship, to look past the surface and delve into the depths of their individual desires. Just as the evening shadows lengthened, Sarah sensed that each decision they would face could carve out new pathways, or erect new walls. In that moment, she knew one thing was certain. Ambiguity hung thick in the air, setting the stage for a revelation neither of them was prepared for. As much as Sarah wanted to steer this discussion toward reconciliation, the true essence of their shared history and dreams was still veiled by unspoken fears. What hidden truths lurked beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves? The air felt charged as Sarah searched for the right words. Uncertainty hung in the balance, and she recognized the power of this moment. Not just for Lily, but for herself. She had the opportunity to create a new narrative, one that could encompass their individual aspirations while fostering a stronger bond. Yet the weight of her past anxieties threatened to tarnish the chance for open dialogue. "Lily," Sarah began, softening her tone. "What if we redefined what happiness looks like for us? A wedding isn't just about what's seen on the surface. It's about celebrating the journey we want to embark on together." Lily shifted in her seat, the defensive posture still lingering. "You're saying this inheritance is for some grand vision? That it's going to fix everything?" Her laughter was laced with skepticism, a reaction Sarah had anticipated. "No, it's not a fix," Sarah replied, urgency mingling with vulnerability. "But it could be a tool, a way for us to save for future opportunities, to pursue what we're passionate about without the crushing weight of debt or financial instability." The idea hung between them, ripe with possibilities. Still, Sarah sensed explosions of conflicting emotions surfacing in her daughter. "You have no idea what it feels like, Mom. Planning my wedding is something I've dreamt of forever. Just because we have this money doesn't mean it should ruin my vision." "I don't want to ruin anything, Lily," Sarah countered, desperation creeping into her voice. "I just don't want you to enter into a life where you think money means happiness alone. Then what am I supposed to do? Scrap everything for this nebulous future?" "No, not at all. Start with your dreams, but allow for a conversation about how to build them," she emphasized, pushing through her mounting anxiety. "Let's turn this inheritance into a launching pad, something that supports both our visions." As her words lingered in the air, Sarah felt a slight shift, the inflection of curiosity peeking through Lily's defenses, a crack where their conversation could seep through and grow. "Okay," Lily replied slowly, her brow furrowed. "But how do we even start?" In that moment, Sarah was presented with an unexpected chance to share insight she had long tucked away. "There's a local business incubator that offers financial literacy workshops. It might help us both to learn how to invest wisely, not just in ideas, but in our skills." Lily's shoulders relaxed, if only for a moment. "That sounds interesting. But is it really what you want? To take this money and invest it in something that could just as easily fail? Was it about the possibility of failure?" Sarah's heart raced at the notion, her elusive fear creeping back in. "Yes, there's a risk. But isn't growth rooted in risk? I've spent too long playing it safe. I want us to seize our chances, to take calculated steps toward our dreams." For a heartbeat, an understanding danced in the space between them. Just a heartbeat, but it illuminated something latent. An eagerness to explore how deep-rooted desires could be expressed through mutual effort, rather than one individual's dreams overshadowing the other's. "Okay," Lily finally conceded, her voice quieter but more open. "Let's give it a shot. But promise me this isn't just about pausing my wedding dreams." A spark ignited in Sarah. That was the distinct call for mutual engagement she had yearned for. "No, it's about amplifying them. Let this be our journey, an evolution of both our dreams into something extraordinary." Yet even as she spoke, seeds of doubt flooded Sarah's mind. Could they truly navigate the complexities of both their journeys? Would this process unveil cracks in their relationship rather than reinforce them? As she felt the walls between them start to shift, she also sensed the shadows lurking nearby. What hidden truths about their wishes and fears lay just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to surface. Would this newfound collaboration bring them closer or highlight their differences in stark relief? With the promise of this shared endeavor lying ahead, Sarah caught a breath. In the intricate web of dreams, the next moment would be crucial, unraveling the layers of their coexistence in ways she could only anticipate. What surprises awaited them on this path, and at what cost? The next morning, Sarah woke with an urgency she had rarely felt before. The sun streamed through her window, illuminating the room. But within her, shadows of uncertainty lurked. As she lay there, she replayed the conversation with Lily in her mind. Their agreement to embark on this journey together felt like a fragile thread, one that could snap under the weight of unexamined expectations. She brewed a strong cup of coffee, letting the rich aroma fill her senses, grounding her as she mapped out her day. The first financial literacy workshop was scheduled for that afternoon, and she was determined to approach it with openness and determination. It was time to confront her fears, to harness the protective instinct that had kept her from real engagement. Stepping into the community center, Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The walls bore vibrant posters of entrepreneurial success stories, each one a testament to risk and reward, a narrative she desperately wanted to embrace. Lily arrived shortly after, her expression a blend of enthusiasm and lingering skepticism. "Are we really going to learn how to handle money today?" she asked, crossing her arms defensively. "Yes," Sarah replied, feeling her own tension rise. "We are." The workshop was led by a seasoned financial coach who spoke with an infectious passion for empowerment. As they delved into budgeting strategies, investment principles, and the psychology of money, Sarah's initial uncertainties began to fade. She found herself absorbing the knowledge with surprising clarity. Yet, as they transitioned into group discussions, the previous night's fears crept back. Other names, other dreams were shared. Enterprises blooming from financial struggles into flourishing aspirations. But when it came time for Sarah to speak, she hesitated. The room buzzed with encouragement and hope, yet she felt paralyzed. What was her aspiration? Was it the restaurant she had always dreamed of? Or something grander for her and Lily? She realized she had wrapped herself in a cocoon of responsibility, and now the weight of it held her down, silencing her potential. Seeing Lily participate energetically, sharing ideas about wedding themes and dream locations, sparked something within her. Sarah felt a wave of inspiration ripple through her, igniting a latent determination to identify her passion unapologetically. After the workshop, they regrouped outside, the air buzzing with energy. "That was pretty cool," Lily admitted, brow slightly raised. "I didn't think we'd actually gain anything of value." "Me neither," Sarah replied, a grin breaking across her face. "But I think we need to explore this more. What if we each created a vision board? Something to clarify our goals and dreams?" Lily's eyes lit up. "That sounds fun. But are you ready to share yours?" In that moment, Sarah realized she was ready. The fear that had constrained her began to loosen. "Definitely. The truth is, I've always wanted to start a small cafe. A place where people gather, share stories, and connect over good food. But I've never really believed it could happen." "Why not?" Lily probed, her expression earnest. "I suppose I've doubted my ability to take risks," Sarah admitted, her voice trembling slightly. "I wanted to protect you more than I wanted to pursue my dreams." Lily took a deep breath. "You could make that cafe work, Mom. And I won't let your fears hold me back either." Their laughter intertwined, echoing against the backdrop of possibilities unfolding. However, beneath that laughter was a glimmer of apprehension. Could they both transform their dreams into a shared reality without stepping on each other's ambitions? Sarah felt a tightening in her chest as she contemplated the rigidity of her expectations alongside Lily's aspirations. As they parted ways, a thought lingered in Sarah's mind. Opportunities would require dedication, but might also require difficult conversations ahead. What unseen challenges lay beneath their shared excitement, threatening to fracture their newly forged connection? Can they navigate the pitfalls of vulnerability? Or would they descend into a deeper conflict? With that question echoing in her thoughts, Sarah felt a profound resolve deepen within her. Somehow the journey had just begun, but it was colored with new possibilities, both daunting and exhilarating. What would this exploration truly unveil about their dreams and themselves? As the days passed following the workshop, Sarah found herself consumed with thoughts of her cafe dream. Each morning, the initial excitement from her newfound revelation slowly dimmed into doubt as reality seeped back in. Financial projections, zoning laws, and potential competition circled her mind like wary vultures. Determined not to be paralyzed by the prospect of failure, she began researching the intricacies of starting a small business. Late nights turned into early mornings as articles piled up beside her bedside. She juggled practicality and passion, absorbing every tip and strategy available online. It was exhausting, but there was something invigorating about laying the groundwork. Lily, on the other hand, thrived in her own planning for their shared venture. As they honed their vision for the cafe, Sarah could see her daughter's enthusiasm bubble over, finding fresh inspiration in every brainstorming session they held. What if we have local artists showcase their work? Lily suggested enthusiastically one day. Or host cooking classes on the weekends. Those are great ideas, Sarah replied, feeling a spark of excitement rekindle within her. Yet despite the positive feedback, another wave of uncertainty rolled in. This one more insidious. Was she stifling Lily's ambition? Would their shared dream morph into a clashing reality? Their discussions soon transformed from light-hearted chats into serious, late-night dialogues, filled with both hopes and fears. Sarah's mind remained a pendulum between envisioning their collaborative dream and dreading the potential fractures in their mother-daughter relationship. One weekend, Sarah arranged to meet a local business owner who had succeeded in her own cafe endeavor. The night before the meeting, Sarah found herself restless, pacing back and forth. What if she was wasting her time? What if her dreams were too lofty? Would she disappoint Lily if she failed? After a sleepless night, she arrived at the cafe, a quaint little place bustling with patrons. The aroma of fresh coffee enveloped her, soothing her jittering nerves. As she sat across from the seasoned owner, Sarah felt herself slip into an unexpected candidness, sharing her ideas and hesitations. The woman listened patiently, nodding in understanding. Every business is born from a dream. It's the execution that trips people up, she said, her eyes glinting with hard-earned wisdom. But don't let fear be your guide. It's okay to have doubts. Embrace them, learn from them, but don't let them dictate your path. Sarah absorbed her words, feeling a slight shift in her perspective. What if I push forward, and I realize I've bitten off more than I can chew? Then you chew, she replied sharply. And you spit it out if you have to. Life is about iterations. Changing course is not failure. It's adapting. As she drove home, something began to crystallize within Sarah. She couldn't steer clear of risks if she was to fulfill her dreams, and confronting Lily's aspirations did not mean abandoning her own. They could build this cafe as partners, two hearts with two dreams converging into one. That night, instead of crawling into bed burdened, Sarah opened her laptop and began drafting a plan. A tangible plan mapped out in numbers, strategies, and creative ideas began to take shape. Yet, beneath her renewed sense of purpose, a nagging uncertainty remained. Could they truly manage this partnership? Would they step on each other's dreams, or support one another in triumph? As she sat in the glow of her screen, these thoughts haunted her. What lay ahead demanded clarity, not only for the cafe but for their relationship. Tomorrow, she decided, she would lay the full plan before Lily. Would that be the catalyst their collaboration needed, or would it reveal cracks that couldn't be mended? The dawn would bring possibility, but with it, the looming confrontation. As Sarah finally succumbed to sleep, the question still lingered. Were they ready to face the true cost of their shared aspirations? The morning sun poured through the kitchen window, casting warm light on the cluttered table where Sarah had strewn her business plan sheets. Each page radiated her aspirations, yet she couldn't shake the anxiety snaking through her thoughts. Today was pivotal. It felt like standing on the edge of a high dive. One leap could either lead to euphoric freedom or a bone-crushing fall. As she waited for Lily, Sarah couldn't help but question her decision to involve her daughter. Was this an act of nurturing or a potential burden? She leaned back in her chair, scanning through the notes she had meticulously crafted. The detailed financial projections, the unique marketing angles, and the ideas for community engagement seemed vibrant on paper. But what if the reality felt much harsher? She glanced at the clock. Any moment now, the door would swing open and Lily would burst in, ready to tackle the day with unfiltered optimism. It was part of what drew Sarah into this venture, yet part of it triggered her insecurities further. What if Lily expected more than Sarah could deliver? Just as those thoughts cemented themselves in her mind, the door opened with a rush of energy. Lily entered with her backpack slung over one shoulder and an infectious smile illuminating her face. "Mom, guess what? I've been thinking about how to promote our cafe online. We could start a blog about our journey." Sarah's heart swelled with pride, yet her doubts swirled like dark clouds around her. Could she balance her own dreams while encouraging Lily's? "That's an interesting idea," she ventured, unsure how to steer the conversation. "I've actually written out a whole plan for the cafe that I'd like to share with you." Lily's interest piqued instantly. "Really? Let's go over it." She lowered herself into the chair across from Sarah, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. As Sarah started to outline her ideas, expounding on their envisioned menu, the decor, and the exploration of hosting local events, she felt herself gaining momentum. Each aspect neatly interlocked with the next, creating a cohesive vision. Yet, amidst the excitement, she could sense a hesitance from Lily. It was as if an invisible wall rose between them as the daughter observed her mother. "Mom, I love everything you've put together." Lily started, her brows knitting in a way that indicated thoughtfulness. "But have you considered how we'll balance everything? What if we don't have enough customers to start? What if—" Sarah's heart sank, recognizing the unspoken fear tethering them both. "What if we fail?" she murmured, a wavering uncertainty lacing her voice. "Yes, we might not," Lily exclaimed suddenly, leaning closer. "But if we focus on building something real between us first, we can face anything, right?" Her daughter's words pierced through Sarah's muddled fears, highlighting a vital truth she hadn't fully embraced. The partnership demanded vulnerability, not just in business, but in their relationship. They needed to cultivate trust before committing to this venture. "Lily, I want this to be a journey we both enjoy," she said slowly, her voice steadying. "Let's work together, but I want to hear your concerns too. Let's promise to confront them together, rather than hiding behind doubt." They sat in silence, letting the weight of the moment settle, both grappling with the significance of what they were building. It wasn't merely about coffee or concepts. It was about carving a space where both their aspirations could collide harmoniously. Just then, Lily's phone buzzed, breaking their contemplative moment. As she peered at the screen, Sarah noticed a flash of something that resembled opportunity. "Mom, what if I reach out to bloggers or influencers? We could run a mini-campaign to generate buzz before the opening." Ambushed by this new wave of enthusiasm, Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline. That's brilliant. If we approach it as a team, we can create something truly unique, she said, the fractured doubt slowly mending as they mapped out strategies together. Yet as they sketched out their ambitions in vibrant colors, Sarah discovered a stark realization. Their dreams were laced with potential pitfalls, linked to their ability to communicate openly. What if they built this cafe on unsteady ground, with fractured foundations beneath? As she glanced at Lily, the uncertainties flipped into a commitment. They were both risking personal growth and connection on this venture. What if we take the leap and write our cafe story together? Sarah asked, the words hanging in the air. Absolutely. Lily beamed, her excitement palpable. Yet, amid the optimism, a looming question remained, gnawing beneath the surface. Could their partnership withstand the pressures of success and failure? As they enthusiastically began to outline their next steps, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that a deeper, more significant challenge was brewing just out of sight. Today had set the stage for something extraordinary, but could they sustain it when the wheels began to turn? The clock ticked steadily, urging them forward. But what awaited them in the shadows of their ambitions would determine their true alliance. The days rolled into a blur of meetings, brainstorming sessions, and endless scribbles on paper. Sarah often caught herself distracted, staring out the window while contemplating the delicate balance of her dreams and her daughter's aspirations. The shop's opening day loomed closer, and in the back of her mind, she still held the quiet doubts that ate away at her conviction. What if their plans fell apart? Lily's enthusiasm kept Sarah moving forward, but it had become clear that their collaboration was more than just an enterprise. It was a test of their relationship. Each time Lily pitched an idea, Sarah felt a mixture of pride and fear. Was it possible that she was leaning too heavily on her daughter's youthful optimism? Could this venture become a strain rather than an anchor? They had spent the last week building their online presence, sharing the cafe's development through social media. Lily had developed a following, engaging their audience with updates and behind-the-scenes moments. Sarah had to admit that her daughter's knack for storytelling made the cafe seem more alive. But as the likes poured in, so did a surge of pressure. The expectations were palpable, and Sarah found herself faced with a looming reality. One afternoon they huddled over their laptops, reviewing comments from potential customers. Sarcasm and criticism crept in. "That's too ambitious for a first-time cafe," one user wrote. Sarah felt her chest tighten. Could they truly measure up to the expectations set by strangers online? "Mom," Lily said, her voice steady despite the harsh comments. "This is a journey, remember? We're learning. We'll figure it out as we go." But understanding it as a journey did little to quell the gnawing fears in Sarah's heart. She questioned whether they had the right skills for this endeavor. Could her modest cafe really find its niche in a market saturated with flashy competitors? Their next meeting had a different tone. Sarah sat across from Lily, who was eagerly drafting responses to their social media followers. The spark she had seen days earlier was dimmed by Sarah's silence. "There's something bothering you," Lily said, not looking up from her screen. "I don't know if I can meet all these expectations," Sarah admitted, her words crackling with hesitation. "What if we disappoint those who are eager to visit?" Lily paused, letting the weight of her mother's words settle in the air. "Every business starts somewhere. It's not about perfection, Mom. It's about growth, about being real. Don't you see?" Sarah leaned back, absorbing her daughter's perspective. It was a revelation that struck at her core. The performance anxiety she felt was a reflection of her lifelong habit of striving for unattainable ideals. Was this cafe an extension of her desire to prove herself? "Maybe I'm getting in our way," she acknowledged slowly. "I've been so focused on the outcome that I forgot to appreciate the process." Lily's eyes brightened. Exactly. What's wrong with being a work in progress? We can embrace the mistakes along the way. The conversation shifted Sarah's understanding. She recognized that their cafe could be a living story, evolving through triumphs and setbacks alike. With that acceptance came a swell of courage, unraveling her inhibitions like loose threads. Maybe their failures could inspire others, create conversations or connections, and ultimately lead to something more profound. As they mapped out strategies for their marketing campaign, Sarah felt lighter, unburdened by the crushing weight of perfectionism. The cafe was theirs, and together, they could navigate whatever challenges arose, hand in hand. Yet, as discussions continued, a familiar echo of fear surfaced again. What if their journey toward authenticity cracked under the pressure of financial instability? What if they faced backlash too harsh for their nascent business? The clock on the wall ticked steadily, and with each tick, Sarah sensed the pressure mounting. The vulnerability of revealing their brand to the world was terrifying. She wasn't just risking her dream, she was also risking the bond they had been nurturing. With inspiration igniting her spirit, Sarah took a deep breath. Let's position the cafe as a space for authenticity, where our journey, with its imperfections, is part of the story. That newfound resolve left a lingering question in her mind. As they journeyed deeper into their venture, would the act of being real draw customers in, or push them away? As they prepared for another post, tinged with excitement, she realized the stakes were higher than ever. The foundation they were laying could either strengthen their bond or reveal cracks they had yet to discover. The week leading up to the cafe's grand opening descended with a mix of frenetic energy and an underlying dread. Sarah felt as though each day had become a roller coaster of anticipation and anxiety, swinging between her hopes for success and her fears of inadequacy. As she hurriedly arranged tables and decorated the walls, a palpable tension filled the air. The vision she had nurtured with Lily was materializing, yet uncertainty gnawed at the edges of her resolve. On an uncharacteristically quiet afternoon, Sarah found herself alone, wiping down the countertop. The cafe was still a canvas, bright but fragile, like a new promise. She paused, studying the sunlight filtering through the windows and casting warm patches on the wooden floor. What underpinning fears haunted her? She faced the reflection in the glass, not merely her physical self, but the embodiment of doubt and aspiration. How could she carve out a space in a world brimming with seasoned cafe owners, each with polished systems and loyal patrons? The internal debate raged on. As a single mother, her past choices hinged on secure paths, raising Lily amidst practicality. Unwittingly, she had shielded herself from failures, but now, under the scrutiny of their aspirations, hung the possibility of public exposure to fragility. "Mom!" Lily's voice broke into the reverie, pulling Sarah from her spiral of thoughts. The sparkle in her daughter's eyes was contagious, yet it echoed a truth Sarah struggled to fully embrace. "I just posted about our tasting event. Look, people are excited." As Lily showed her the enthusiastic comments, a flicker of hope ignited in Sarah's chest. Yet mixed with that hope was the harsh echo of the previous critiques. The criticism still stung. What if they don't like it? What if they think we're just two amateurs playing cafe? "Then we'll listen and learn," Lily replied firmly, crossing her arms. "You can't expect everyone to love what we do from the start. It's part of growing. But what if the growing pains were too painful?" Sarah grappled with the notion that failure could teach them, yet the thought of disappointing Lily scared her. She remembered all the late nights spent helping with homework, admonishing her when she didn't give her best. Those lessons reinforced a vision of success, making Sarah wonder if she had inadvertently passed that weight onto her daughter. With a newfound sense of clarity, Sarah realized her narrative had to shift. It wasn't just about creating a product to sell, nor was it merely about meeting expectations. The vulnerability required to share their story, imperfections included, could become their greatest strength. "Maybe it's time to lean into the chaos," she said, more to herself than to Lily. "We can frame our mistakes as part of our charm." "Exactly. Just think of it, Mom. The cafe of real life, where we embrace the mess along the way." Lily cracked a slight smile, her enthusiasm contagious. Sarah allowed herself to embrace that vision. She saw the cafe not merely as a place for coffee, but as a sanctuary of authenticity. They could share every step, every misstep, and every glorious moment of laughter together. The realization sparked a flame of resolve within her heart. She would no longer allow fear to dictate their journey. As they worked late into the night preparing for the opening, Sarah felt a surge of determination. Yet, even amidst the excited chaos, a shadow of doubt lingered, whispering that vulnerability could indeed backfire. If they stripped back the layers and were genuinely authentic, what if they didn't resonate with anyone? The doors would soon open, but the act of showing who they really were required more courage than Sarah had anticipated. Would embracing their collective journey draw the community closer, or leave them feeling exposed? The question gnawed at her. Was authenticity a strength, or a risk? Just as they finished hanging the last decorative sign, Lily's phone buzzed. "It's the first negative review on our page. Someone says it looks tacky." Time froze, and panic surged. That buzzy excitement was now tinged with fear. Sarah turned to her daughter, faced with a pivotal moment. How they would respond could define not only their cafe but their bond. Would they confront this unforeseen challenge together, or let it fracture their ambitions? As the sun dipped below the horizon, a sense of urgency enveloped them. With hearts pounding, they prepared to face the unexpected hurdles ahead, knowing this would shape the cafe's very essence. How would Sarah structure their response? What lessons would she uncover about herself and their partnership in the process? The morning of the grand opening arrived with a crispness in the air that sharpened Sarah's focus. She stood in the cafe, the freshly brewed coffee scent blending with the sweet aroma of pastries, and felt a return of urgency that replaced her fear. She had spent the night tossing between excitement and dread, but now, armed with a determination she hadn't known she possessed, she prepared to step into the arena. Each chair they had arranged felt like a welcoming invitation, each cup a potential connection to the community they wanted to foster. As the clock approached 10, the cafe door swung open, and an initial trickle of patrons ambled in. Hearts racing, Sarah and Lily exchanged glances filled with unspoken hopes and encouragement. They both wore smiles, masks of confidence that belied the trepidation lurking within. What if this endeavor crumbled under the weight of expectations? Lily, taking charge as the designated customer engagement expert, greeted the first guests with a warmth that melted some of Sarah's lingering fears. Sarah busied herself behind the counter, pouring each cup like it was a declaration of their dream. However, that first negative review kept replaying in her mind, scalding and biting. Would the patrons who entered today find it tacky too? Amidst the flurry of customers, a familiar face emerged from the crowd. Mrs. Thompson, an elderly neighbor and a longtime supporter. "I've been waiting for this day." She clapped her hands together, excitement bubbling in her blue eyes. The compliment soothed the edges of Sarah's anxiety, and as they chatted, Sarah's confidence began to build. Mrs. Thompson reminisced about the community bake sales Sarah had attended with Lily, moments that felt laden with the promise of togetherness. As the coffee flowed and laughter filled the air, Sarah's pulse quickened. Feedback began to pour in, enthusiastic murmurs about the inviting atmosphere and memories that resonated with the cafe's vision. She felt Lily within reach, her infectious enthusiasm bringing life to every corner. This was more than just a cafe. It was a shared story, a narrative of perseverance and authenticity. Yet as minutes turned to hours, that shadow of doubt kept creeping back, whispering that the excitement could easily be temporary. They watched patrons flip through the menu with glee. But beneath that surface, Sarah wondered, would a single critical voice be loud enough to drown out the others? Midway through the rush, she noticed a group of young adults seated at the far end. They were laughing, their voices rising, and then one gestured toward a piece of their decor, whispering to his friend. In an instant, worry gripped her again. Were they mocking or enjoying it? Unable to shake the apprehension, Sarah decided it was time to confront the fear head-on. "Hey there!" she called out, gathering her courage. "How's everything? What do you think of the cafe?" The group turned, surprised, but engaged. They began to rave about the signature lattes and the coziness of the space. Relief poured over Sarah like a warm blanket, but curiosity lingered. The moment shifted as one of them shared, "It's refreshing to see something so authentic, you know? Everyone is trying to sell perfection these days." Sarah inhaled deeply, allowing the positive feedback to resonate. Their imperfections had become a bridge, not a barrier. Yet she still sensed the weight of the earlier criticism. "And if we hit a rough spot? If not everyone agrees?" She pressed, the instinct to protect tugging at her. Their laughter turned serious, thoughtful. "Then you own it. You invite that conversation. That's where connection happens," one replied, and in that moment, Sarah recognized a vital truth. Authenticity was an ongoing dialogue, not a destination. As the crowd began to dwindle slightly, Sarah joined Lily behind the counter. "How does it feel?" Sarah asked, still riding the wave of earlier interactions. Lily shrugged. "Nerve-wracking, but kinda amazing, right? We can keep improving. We just need to listen." Listening. That was it. They had to remind themselves that any feedback, good or bad, was a vital part of the journey. As they closed up the cafe that evening, Sarah felt something shift within her. She could embrace vulnerability, not as a weakness, but as a powerful tool. Every mistake would become a lesson, a stepping stone towards a deeper bond with Lily and those they served. But just as she began to savor that newfound understanding, her phone buzzed again. Another notification. This time, it was a message from a local food blogger, wanting to do a review. Her heart raced at the thought of exposure, excitement mingled with dread. The moment had arrived to engage on a larger scale. Would she share their journey openly, with all its messiness, or tighten the reins on that authenticity she had just started to embrace? The decision loomed before her, heavy with potential and consequence. How would that first encounter with the wider community shape their story? Sarah woke the next morning feeling both exhilarated and anxious. The day after the cafe's opening had brought a handful of customers, and bolstered by positive feedback, she felt renewed purpose coursing through her veins. Today was a pivotal moment, a chance to validate the journey she and Lily had embarked on together. After a quick breakfast, she pulled out her laptop and sat down at the cafe's counter, where the morning sun streamed through the window. Excited chatter filled the air as Lily buzzed around cleaning the remnants of the previous day's rush. Sarah needed to respond to the food blogger's inquiry. "This is our chance to showcase not just our cafe, but our journey," Sarah murmured, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she composed a heartfelt email detailing their vision, the ups and downs, and their dedication to authenticity. She decided not to shy away from the struggles they had faced. After all, honesty had been the foundation of their bond throughout this process. As she hit send, a wave of vulnerability washed over her. What if their story resonated? What if it didn't? The uncertainty lingered, but now, for the first time, she felt empowered by the possibility of connection rather than weighed down by fear. Moments later, as if conjured by their conversations of openness, the sound of the bell above the cafe door chimed. A diverse group filtered in, and in that mix was Mrs. Thompson. "Back for my morning dose of caffeine?" she beamed, warming Sarah's heart with familiarity. Little did she know that this unassuming visit would foster an awakening in Sarah. As she poured Mrs. Thompson's favorite latte, they chatted about the cafe's direction and how Sarah and Lily had decided to delve deeper into the community, inviting local artists to contribute and share their talents. "Authenticity is what people are craving more than anything," Mrs. Thompson said, her voice filled with wisdom. "Sometimes the mistakes are what make life colorful." The sentiment struck a chord within Sarah. She suddenly envisioned their cafe, not just as a business, but as a living testament to shared aspirations, imperfections, and growth. An unlikely sanctuary where dreams were nurtured through the messiness of reality. The day blossomed with foot traffic, and soon, Lily arrived with more enthusiasm than ever. "Guess what? People love the cafe's atmosphere so much, they're tagging us on social media." Amidst the joyful exclamations, Sarah felt Lily's fervor merging with hers. The earlier pressures melted away. They were carving their unique niche, standing proud against the tide of competition. In that whirlwind of activity, Sarah glanced at the wall filled with customer reviews. Praise mingled with constructive feedback was now visible reminders of a journey shared with the community. Undeterred by critiques, they were determined to embrace imperfections as paths toward improvement. Days transformed into weeks, and as they continued to nurture their venture, Sarah felt her confidence solidifying. She even started hosting discussion nights, gatherings where patrons shared their dreams, and together they plotted the way forward. Each session unveiled new stories, each participant weaving a thread into the lively tapestry of their cafe. Lily blossomed too, discovering her voice within this collaborative spirit, organizing monthly art displays and local storytelling sessions. "We're definitely evolving into something extraordinary, Mom," she declared one afternoon, her eyes sparkling. But in the depths of Sarah's heart, she remained aware of the challenges that lay ahead. Opening a small business came with inherent risks, and the pressure to succeed could potentially fracture their bond, if not navigated carefully. Then came the call from the food blogger, highly anticipated, yet frightening. As she prepared her notes, she tried to quell the sudden spike of nervous energy throbbing in her chest. The day of the review arrived, and Sarah knew this was more than just a culinary critique. It was an opportunity to showcase their journey. When the blogger walked through the door, followed by the familiar unease, Sarah instinctively reached for Lily's hand in reassurance. They stood together, united, as two women daring to pursue dreams entwined often in doubt. As the blogger savored the flavors of their signature dishes, Sarah found herself grappling with an array of emotions. Would this moment define their future? What stories would emerge from this experience? Finally, as the blogger left, she turned back to them. "You've captured something rare, both in flavor and experience. You're not just a cafe. You're sharing your journey." That striking compliment left Sarah breathless. Recognition was rewarding, but even more gratifying was the trust she had begun to build with Lily. They had proven themselves capable of navigating vulnerability, cementing a connection forged through teamwork and resilience, in which both dreams coalesced harmoniously. As days turned into months, the cafe slowly gained traction, blossoming into a community haven. Each confluence of patrons felt like a shared heartbeat. Patrons weren't just consumers, they were friends entwined in their story. At calmer moments, Sarah reflected on the transformation that had unfolded within her. Her confidence solidified. She no longer measured success only by financial benchmarks. The relationships they cultivated and the growth they experienced had become meaningful milestones. She had stepped out from the shadows of practicality and birthed dreams from the synergy with her daughter's aspirations. The cafe had not defined their journey but was merely a vessel for connection and authenticity. As she stood behind the counter, preparing her morning brew, she looked up to see Lily laughing with a group of regulars. In that moment of clarity, a wave of satisfaction surged through Sarah's heart. She had achieved balance, not simply in the context of business but within herself as a mother and a dreamer. The final reflection dawned as she felt the sunlight warm her face. She had come to realize that every struggle, every doubt before had been integral to achieving this moment of contentment. Her journey had truly just begun. Hidden amidst challenges lay potential for growth, not only in her ventures, but also in her evolving relationship with Lily. And as Sarah gazed out the window, she embraced the inevitable uncertainties ahead, buoyed by the unwavering connection they had nurtured, ready to step boldly into whatever awaited them next. Now, dear viewers, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss exciting tales of transformative journeys like Sarah's. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread these uplifting stories. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need a powerful reminder about embracing authenticity and connection. Join us in celebrating personal growth and resilience.